Okay, it's 5 p.m. April 20th. I'll bring the remote Board of Selectmen meeting to order. I'll start out by reading our emergency order. I, Erin Hutchings, as Chair of the Milton Board of Selectmen, find that due to the state of emergency declared by the Governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the Governor's Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the Governor's Emergency Order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing the following means to join remotely with the meeting to listen and watch via 1. Conference call for people who don't have the means to join in via computer. A. All members of the Board of Selectmen have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting by dialing the toll-free number 844-855-4444, and upon the prompt, enter access code 145672 and push pound, or by clicking on the following website address, or typing it in, https://join.freeconferencecall.com/MiltonTA. The online meeting ID is Milton TA. Town YouTube live stream. The town's normal live stream broadcast on its YouTube channel, which can be accessed from the Milton Town website at Milton NH/US.com. Then click on the social media tab or providing public access of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We posted notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting on Friday, April 17th, 2020, including how to access the meeting telephonically and on the YouTube live stream. Instructions have also been provided on the website of the Milton Board of Selectmen at miltonnh-us.com and posted on the front door of Milton Town Hall, providing a mechanism for the public to alert and public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem, please call 603-545-4956 or email miltonta@miltonnewhampshire-us.com. Adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting. Since we are all here, there is no need to do this, which is required under the right to know law.
Andy Rawson, Selectman.
Matt Morrill.
Erin Hutchings. We have a quorum. First thing on the agenda, I'm sorry, can everybody please join us? I'm not used to click for the Pledge of Allegiance. Matt, you wanna?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public comment. Please note that this is a business meeting, and given the limitations of remote access and in accordance with the Governor's emergency orders regarding public meetings and the stay-at-home order, the board will not be opening up public comment or discussion for business meetings. All right, and we'll start off with number 1, the update regarding the COVID-19 coronavirus activities.
Madam Chair, we're still operating.
Can you just state your name for those that don't know?
Ernest Creveling, Town Administrator. We're still operating the way we have been since the Governor started issuing emergency orders. The public buildings are closed to public traffic, but we're doing as much as we possibly can online and by mail. The town clerk, tax collector's office, I know, has been really busy. I believe she told me today that she had a backlog of, well, she had about 100 that she had to deal from online, and that wasn't even dealing with the mail-ins and so forth. So we're trying to keep up with it, and they're doing the best they can in there at this point. As far as other things, I had gotten an update from the fire chief. He basically said that EMS protocols have been updated by the state, which is causing them to seek additional personal protective equipment. And he just, I think he said this last week, that they'd received a stimulus check from Medicare in the ambulance account for $4,000. And the police chief didn't have any real updates, just said that calls were increasing as they do this time of year, quality of life calls. You know, of course it gets tough, but they work on trying to keep you know, everybody in the distance, social distancing and so forth. Sometimes that gets complicated, but they're doing what they can. And that's basically it for us. And I know Pat was going to give you a little update on the transfer station.
Okay, thank you. Pat?
I have, Pat Smith, Public Works Director. I have been keeping tabs on the transfer station and communicating with the staff at the transfer station. And we've discussed the possibility of opening the transfer station to normal business. We will still have to use extra personnel for traffic control. But we want to start taking on the bulky and the construction debris. We're getting, you know, requests of when they can start doing that. I guess we have a lot of that backing up in people's properties and different things that are going on. I see no reason why we can't open up for normal business at this time, but that would be up to the Board of Selectmen if you feel that we need to go to that point. I'm going to recommend that we do that. I still think that the traffic control needs to be in place so that no more than, you know, 2 cars in a line at the containers to keep social distancing. We're going to make sure we got a pretty good sized sign up there stating that make sure that people maintain their social distancing 6 feet. Because obviously not all the personnel is going to be in the spots that they're in. If the scales are open, we're going to have people working on the scales and doing other things, so it'll be a little bit more hectic around the area. But I still think if we can control it, and I think that, you know, it may slow things down a little bit more than what they are, but I haven't really seen huge lines coming in to where people are backing up for a long period of time. Maybe a few minutes they might have to wait, but I don't think it's all that bad. And I haven't had a lot of complaints from, any complaints really, from residents that have to wait. So as far as the transfer station goes, I think we've done well. The public overall has been very good. We appreciate their patience with us. Again, I'd like to go ahead and, if it's okay with the board, to open up to normal operations next Friday.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think if you guys can control it and mitigate any risks between residents or anything like that, you know, as best you can, I think it's a fantastic idea. Let's go back to normal.
I may have to make adjustments if we get started. You know, there might be some
Right.
things we might have to adjust on to be able to manage, you know, if there's a lot more traffic because of what we're opening up. But I think we can handle it. I think we can figure it out and we can manage it. So, okay, then that's exactly what I'll get a memo out, if it's okay with you, tomorrow on the webpage and the Facebook pages, with our intentions and how we're gonna do it like I have in the past.
Right.
And I'll take care of that. The other thing with the transfer station that I just wanna mention tonight is, I have these packets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is just for you to look at right now. We need to probably have a workshop before we go any farther on this, so that, you know, I can explain to you, we can discuss certain, you know, parts of that if that's what you want a discussion on. And after we do this, and this is just for changes with the fee schedule due to increases in tipping fees on some of the commodities that we take in. And then you'll have to have a public hearing.
Right.
But I think a workshop, if we could do that when you're ready. It doesn't have to be tomorrow or anything, but you know, but I'm giving you that ahead of time so that you can look it all over. If you've got a bunch of questions when we have the workshop, we can answer that and so forth.
Okay. Do you guys have any input on, like, for when we could go ahead and do a workshop? I mean, give us some time to review it and say what, maybe towards the end of May? Matt?
Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we could even do it earlier. I mean, if we're gonna have if Pat's gonna come in and break all this down for us, you know, I mean, the sooner we do it, you know, probably the better, I would say.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I'll just wait to hear from you.
Okay.
Hear from Ernie as to when you want to set that up. I probably would like to have some staff here.
Okay.
Also, so that they can give you some of their explanations on what's going on and so forth. So,
Okay.
just so we can all be on the same page and have the same information before we go into a public hearing.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, sounds good. Thank you.
The next thing I have, which I believe is right under that, right?
Correct.
On the agenda, the roof quotes.
Yes.
So I got, obviously we had some insurance damage on the little schoolhouse up by Bowling Road on Plumbers Ridge. And the insurance company has gone out and done their estimate, and they have given the town a check for $3,200 to repair one side of the roof. That's what the $3,200 is, with the $1,000 deductible taken off. So the cost to do one side of the roof on one of your bids is $4,200, and I'll use $4,200 just for conversation's sake tonight. So that money the town has, the check's been cashed. Currently we have 2 tarps over the roof to keep the water from getting into the building, just to cover up and seal it for now. The quotes that I have a quote from New England Roofing for both sides to do the whole roof, and that's to sheathe it and put the shingles on and do what work needs to be done. New England Roofing was $9,000. Branch River Custom Builders was $8,400, and B&M Roofers was $8,500. I don't have the total amount of money in my budget to do that job. I don't even know if I can come up with the other $1,000 to do that roof at this time based on the default budget and so forth. I might propose, and it's up to you, that we could leave the tarps on for the summer and revisit this in the fall. And if we think we might have the money, then we could do the roof. If not, we obviously have to do at least one side where the damage is before winter. So again, I think those are our 2 options.
Okay, if you don't mind me interrupting while we're talking about this. So in your government building maintenance line, you have 20,000. What do you think you're gonna be using all that revenue for?
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on what happens through the course of the year. I mean, last year, we took out over $15,000 for a furnace that, you know, so I personally don't wanna spend all that money now in the spring and then come fall get caught. I'd rather wait till fall because I think we have the luxury to wait till fall and reassess what we have for money in the fall. If we can, you know, the other option you have is you have the government buildings capital reserve fund, if you wanted to use that, but that's just an option.
Right.
But
For me, I would rather not.
I'm just saying, I personally think, and I'm recommending, I guess, that we just kind of hang on.
Right.
I think the tops are doing the job right now. Let's go ahead and see what we have for funding in the fall. You know, things might change, something might happen that, you know, you might have a little money here, a little money there that you didn't spend, that you didn't need to spend, and you might be able to move that to that project.
Right.
I mean, but I do believe that in the fall, you are going to have to patch that one side. You're probably gonna have to come up with $4,200 in the fall, unless you wanted to do that now. But if we have the money to do the whole thing, we don't wanna do half now, and then come in and reset up in the fall to do it again. It's just gonna be more money. But I'll listen to I'll do what you want me to do with that.
In my opinion, I think we should sit on the $3,200 for right now and like you suggested, wait until the fall and see. I've seen the tarps are up there. I don't know if maybe go up and, we seem to be having an awful lot of wind lately.
Yeah.
And just make
I'm
sure
just-
that
Yeah,
it's secure.
I'm just nervous about spending this much money
No.
this early in the year.
I hear
And then
you.
if something was to happen that I needed, that was
Right.
more, you know, important than that.
Well, it's really important, actually. I mean, that roof has been bad for a while. And, you know, now we have tarps on it. Hopefully the tarps are doing their job, because I hate to see any more damage get done to that little
It's
schoolhouse.
strapped down, it's all got strapping on it, holding it down.
So,
Again, you tell me what you wanna do with it.
Nope,
Because we still have to find another $1,000 unless you wanna take it out of my budget. And that would be for half of it.
Right.
You
Yeah,
need $6,200 from someplace else if you wanna do the whole thing.
I would almost recommend just waiting till fall. Just waiting till fall and seeing where we're at. If we have the extra money left over and we can pull a little from here, a little from there, fine, do it then, but I don't, I'm on the same page as you, Pat. I don't think spending that money right now is the best idea. I mean, yeah, that probably means that the quotes might go up a little bit come fall, because subject to change, but I think waiting till fall is probably the better solution right now, unfortunately.
If I had the luxury of not waiting, I would obviously do it
Absolutely,
right now, but I mean, I just don't know.
yeah.
And last year, we thought we were gonna be good with the government buildings budget, but coming into the fall, we ended up having to replace a furnace and, you know, we had to put a chimney liner in. I mean, all of that stuff
Mm-hmm.
chewed that budget up, and that was just one incident, you know? That could happen. I mean, you got a furnace right
Oh, really?
downstairs now, that if that
We
thing
know.
happens to go in the fall, you're gonna come up with $25,000.
and we've Band-Aided it, Band-Aid and Band-Aid for,
So, I mean, let's just hope it lasts a little bit longer, but
right.
there's other things out there too that could happen. Not that I want them to, but I'm just trying to
Nope.
be conservative
Mm-hmm.
and not rush into it, but again, if the board wants me to do it, I'll do it.
I say wait till fall.
I honestly think wait till fall.
there you go. Wait till fall.
Didn't hear him,
I
sorry.
said, there you go, wait till fall.
Okay. I mean, if something
Nope,
comes up or if things get worse, I'll let you know, obviously.
Yep.
But it's been topped since winter, February.
And from a girl who spent a lot of years down south, there's a lot of blue tarps that stay on houses for years and years. I'm here to, not that I want that to happen,
Yeah, no.
but I'm just saying that, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Right, just to say, you know, reiterate again, I
Right.
think we're gonna have to do half of it at
Right.
least this year before winter comes.
right. But I'm also
Because we
with
don't
you.
want that damage inside the building,
Right.
okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Pat.
All right, thank you.
All right. Qualifications for a local task force.
Good night.
Good
Night,
night,
Pat.
thanks. We had talked briefly about this before. When all of this had, when the COVID had kind of come down upon us, and that about having a task force to look at expenditures, to a multitude of things where we can get the best bang for the buck out of town, etc. Did you have a chance to read over it, Matt,
Yeah, I read through it a bit. Yeah.
Andy?
Yeah. I was just,
Any?
I think it's a good idea.
yeah, I mean, more eyes.
Any suggestions for it to further?
We just gotta, we gotta figure out who's gonna, be in charge of this task force. Is that gonna be you, Ernie?
I'll certainly facilitate.
I mean, or we haven't gotten that far yet.
No. No, it's just been a loose, something we need to, you know, talk about and,
Do you want me to run down through it?
Sure.
So there had been some discussion about this earlier in the year, and just trying to put together a framework to be able to look more closely at some of the areas, and using some of the local expertise that's out there, some of the business people that are there. Hopefully get some people with some, you know, financial experience, whether they're accountants or financial, a finance manager, whatever the case may be. I'm sure that there have to be some people that are out there. Of course, we'd be leaning on you folks to help find some of these people. But as it is now, when I put together that initial Milton Messenger blog that started, we talked about, I think there were 5 people on there. And at this point, in talking with people and some comments that I've gotten back, we looked at a makeup, and again, this is just throwing it out there so people can talk about it and figure out, you know, how you want to go about it. Looking at a resident entrepreneur business owner from Milton Mills, another resident entrepreneur, you know, business owner from Milton. You know, not that they're 2 separate places, but they are, you know, in a sense. And then looking for a resident with a strong accounting or finance background, 1 select board representative, or all 3. I mean, it could be that. Somebody from either the school administration or the school board, a budget committee representative. And then there was a suggestion that came up as, well, the town planner, you know, Bruce is involved with capital improvement program. He's also a longtime resident, very knowledgeable. And then the other, so from there, then there was a little bit of back and forth about whether you'd want a planning board member or a member from the Milton Economic Development Committee. And that's, you know, some discussion, and, you know, one point was, you know, planning board works on capital improvement program. You have the staff to the planning board there. So, I mean, that's one of those areas that you can talk about. I mean, the whole thing is actually, and then department heads would be, you know, consultation is needed, any questions or support as needed with me as primary contact, and I would help facilitate meetings as well whenever those happen. And then consultation with state federal representatives as might be needed. I mean, that might sound a little bit, going overboard, but, that actually helps. I mean, when we were, I'll just, a story from another town, we got congressional delegation involved, both state to some extent, but federal, and ended up with a, almost a 2 mile, give or take, water line that got installed because of contamination in an old, it's called the Mattola pig farm, and there people were dumping barrels of contaminated materials there, so it got contaminated. It was groundwater contamination, but they got that water line installed 2 miles all the way down, to the area of contamination from the wastewater treatment facility. And it didn't cost the community much of anything other than staff time and everything to deal with it. But that you can utilize those folks when there comes a time to actually need them. So that's why that's in there. So they would, in going through this, the group must be objective and apolitical. Be willing to explore the viability of any proposal considered by the task force using the best cost-benefit ratio analysis possible for any proposal that receives a majority vote to continue under consideration. They would research the legality of any proposal under current state and federal law, and if not legal currently, determine if there is a path to legality and define the steps to get there for those proposals the group feels should be pursued. This group will be respectful to one another, to members of the public who may have suggestions and ideas, and to the mission of this group. This group will also act in strict accordance with the Town of Milton ethics and social media policies. And, actually, I think that both of those need to be looked at. I'm not sure if there's anything more recent. There's an ethics policy that was adopted in 1992, and then there was a portion that was added to it, I think, in 2013. In 2013. I'm not sure if there's anything that happened in between those two. I'm still kind of researching that. Social media policy, looked at an updated one that we got from a different town that's actually handled by our current law firm. And it's a draft. It's just something for you to take back and consider, because as we go through this whole thing, it might be important. One of the things that personally, social media, is just to make sure that it's being utilized for town business, that it's being handled in a way that's appropriate. And one of the things that I discovered in doing this in Raymond was, and this happened afterward, we got shut out of our original Facebook page. Who knows how that happens, but there's not anybody you can ever get in touch with at Facebook when that happens, so it's still there. I still get emails to my personal account from that page because it was connected to it. So, I think that any of the social media pages need to be attached with the Town of Milton main page as the main, and there's sub-pages to that. So any of the other ones out there, I think, in looking at this in more as we go forward, hopefully bringing those all up underneath one umbrella. And it doesn't mean that people can't be responsible for handling their own departments and so forth, but it just gives you a little bit more control whether they can all be under the same umbrella, the same policy and so forth. So that's where those pieces came out of. Didn't mean to digress too far there, but I'll get back on this. The Milton Local Government Efficiency Task Force mission statement, and Bruce Woodruff added the first half of the sentence in there. The charge of the task force shall be to review local government organization and efficiency options and to receive local government efficiency suggestions offered by the public and by public employees, and to identify and research techniques available to municipalities through existing legislation, along with possible ideas to present to our representatives in the State House for new legislation which aims to achieve greater flexibility in all three of the below stated objectives, and or any other areas of opportunity the task force may identify. And then it goes through the first bullet, broadening and diversifying the tax base, business industry retention and attraction, hence maybe the MEDC being involved with it. The second bullet is increasing revenue streams from outside sources, similar to two innovative uses of town-owned properties currently. One is the solar array that is built on top of the Milton landfill, which generates lease revenue and payments in lieu of taxes, and most of the time, I say most of the time, results in electricity cost credits from an otherwise unproductive property. I mean, you can't really do anything on it. The second example is the town leases property to a private entity for the location of a communications tower in the industrial park. The third bullet would be cutting operating costs by identifying redundancies in area of collaboration between the town and maybe the school, and also identifying any collaborative regional opportunities. And then the last bullet, projects that will achieve savings and improve municipal efficiency through shared services, cooperative agreements, consolidations, and dissolutions with any agency of jurisdiction. That was Bruce Woodruff's suggestion, just to give credit where credit is due. And then there are resources the group can access for free preliminary exploration, like the New Hampshire Municipal Association legal staff. Keep in mind, though, that every piece of advice that NHMA legal staff provides is followed by the caveat to have the municipality's legal counsel review it thoroughly. The resource is there, and it's a great start for a project like this because it's free. So in looking at this, you know, a lot of times people are more willing to get involved with something if they know there's a finite time period involved with it. So I had suggested 12 to 18-month project. And then efficiencies that are identified thoroughly, examined and then recommended to the Board of Selectmen could be considered for proposal in the 2021 budget cycle. And there may be others that will take longer to research and which may warrant an extension of the project for that additional 6 months or so. So that's sort of the framework for it so far. And you can take it and rip it apart and put it back together. So.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So it's not gonna hurt.
And I would just say preliminarily, anybody who's interested, please, send me an email, text, or call me, whatever the case may be, or let your selectmen know.
Thank you. Do you guys have any suggestions for anything?
No, I mean,
I say we just put it out there and see if we get any volunteers.
you wanna be the selectman's rep?
I don't have time. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I do not have time for that. Unfortunately, I would like to say yes, but
Throwing that out there.
Well,
No, I
let's
know.
see if we can get anyone else involved.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
we'll see if how it takes off. No, I think it's. I think economic development, because there's parts of it to me that kind of like reek of like something that economic development would be all about.
Mhm.
So I think a rep from economic development would be good. And we actually had an instance here where actually using our town reps with that fire station, with Jeb Bradley getting the making adding on to a bill to get the sale of the old fire station through. So I mean, we have used the legislature ourselves for. Thank you, Dave Owen, for that. But was able to get that through. So
Yeah, any help you need or we're here for you.
do we want to make a motion
No.
to start it, or we?
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to throw a motion out, I will, to get it moving. If you need a motion, if not, then just
As long as, that there's a general agreement moving forward with it, I can put it out there the way it is, but, I mean, I guess, in terms of the membership, that might be good to hone in on, just so I know what to actually advertise for, put out there on the website.
What to look for?
I would suggest starting with a 12-month appointment or membership, I guess.
You might want to kind of leave it open, like 12 to 18. Kind of leave it a little just past, so if you get some projects that you've started on. Or I guess we could always extend it too.
Yeah.
And that way it's not as daunting on people if it's only a year versus
Right.
2 years. Or,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's see if we can get some people involved, I guess.
What do you think, planning board member versus economic development?
I'd say if we could pull one of each, that'd be great. If not, then I'd probably lean more towards planning board.
Well, you're gonna have Bruce, I think, is Bruce gonna be an integral, from what you were saying, I got the impression that,
But he's certainly interested in being a part of it.
Well, then if Bruce is certainly interested, then I would suggest then lean more towards the economic development committee member rather than a planning board member, because you'll have Bruce who works hand in hand with the planning board. Would be my suggestion for that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, it's tough to get volunteers anyway, so if you know, just throw it out there and see what will stick. I mean, there might be somebody from each board that wants to, you know, be part of this journey. So, it doesn't hurt, the way I see it.
So I'll put it out to both boards, to both the MEDC and the planning board.
For me,
Might as well.
Yeah.
All right.
on the school end of it, and now you've got school board or administrative rep, somebody from the administration. We also talked about accounting or finance background. What about Nate Castle? He's with, he's their finance guy up there. I mean, it would cover two.
I think you'd probably have to put the question with the school board.
Right.
I'm not gonna sit. I'm gonna stay out of that question personally. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, is there anybody here? I mean, you got. You got yourself. I mean, Joanne would have to pay. So, I mean, Kathy knows a lot about the accounting part.
Oh, well, there's other, I think, members in town and two people in town we could talk to on the accounting. And
Yeah, I was looking more with the school involvement, looking at if there are things that we could do more to share resources that, and maybe there isn't, but, it's just one of those things. I mean, right now, we both use the same computer company, and, I'm not really sure if there would be any advantage to that, because, you get a pretty good price on what they do anyway at this point, but that's just an example.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's, if we can all just work together and, try to, at the end of the day, save the taxpayers some money, then it's the right thing to do, so.
Everybody else was here.
what's that?
It's just Jeanette. So, yeah.
Do you all realize that the lights aren't even on?
We like it that way. No, that sounds good. If you want to just put something together and put out what what it is that we're looking for and see who responds first,
Yeah.
and then maybe go from there.
Definitely
You
get
think
somebody
that's
from
probably-
the budget committee, whoever, because they're, they know what's going on with, a seasoned budget committee member would know what's going on with, possibly save money and whatever. Yeah.
Great. I'll just reach out to people.
Okay.
Thank you very much. On to old business. Bylaws. You guys have a chance to,
Yeah. I was on board the last week, our last meeting.
for just approving them or for any changes that needed to be
Well,
looked
the
at?
only change that I saw that I'd like to just see, and we talked about it, is just maybe bringing the birthdays back, and unfortunately, the deaths that occur in town. But other than that, I'm fine with them.
So would that be in addition to the agenda portion?
Yeah,
Yes.
and I say it's the employees' birthdays. So, it's just nice to recognize them, you know, wish them.
Yeah, I'm good with them.
Okay. So
Did you have any
wanna
suggestions?
pull them out?
What's
Yeah,
that?
I do. Page 1,
Mm-hmm.
on B, under the authority.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the last sentence there, the town administrator derives his or her authority from New Hampshire RSA 37 town and village district managers. We don't have a town manager, we have a town administrator. That whole part right there does not even apply. And I think it goes without saying that any authority, we give Andy, sorry, we give Ernie any authority that he needs. I mean, it goes pretty much without saying. I think that part just does not even apply, needs to be removed.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Continuing down, C, organization, under number 1C, the signing of this paperwork may either be performed via physical means or by electronic document signature. It needs to be, I think, physical means. We don't have anything set up for via, and I just think that it keeps things, we're not set up for electronic signature, so I just think that can be removed.
Okay.
Everybody good with that?
So is that taking that all out, or what's the?
It just should say be performed via physical means and take out the electronic or by electronic document signature or rubber stamp or anything else doesn't mean. Are you guys good with that?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just the phrase in that on 2 under officers, B, the last line says related timing will adhere to, and then it says the then current New Hampshire state law. It should just read related timing will adhere to New Hampshire state law, and that's just a verbiage. Ernie, I'd asked you the question about on page 2, under operation, on E, the emergency or special, it says special meetings.
Right.
Is that how it should just read as special meetings? Did you find that out, or?
Well, no, I mean, I think in looking at the statute, I think it could be emergency/special meeting.
Okay.
Because when you look at the statute, it does talk about emergency meetings. And with the special meeting part of it, your normal schedule is set up for the first and third weeks of the month. So if you have a special meeting, then that's what that would refer to as any meeting in addition to that, that's not an emergency meeting.
Gotcha. So we'll change E to be emergency/special meetings. And on 8, requests for information. I have to read because I don't remember what my note was for, so bear with me. I don't know, maybe it's the verbiage. The town administrator shall decide if he or she wants to proceed with the request. If somebody submits a request. Does it strike anyone else as being odd that it's?
Well, I think in terms of that, I mean, if it was something that I wasn't allowed to for whatever reason, if there was a statutory prevention or something, which at this point I can't even think of an example, but I do think it's odd that it says that the town administrator shall decide if he or she wants to proceed with the request. I mean, I think, if there's some legal reason that it can't happen, then I think it would be better, for me just to say that, and then, but in the case of any information given to a single, board member, that B addresses that.
Right,
Where,
shall be provided
you
to
don't want
all.
to give it to everybody.
Right.
So, I don't know, it's just,
I mean, you haven't come into any of those situations, have you? I mean, since you've been here.
not in, I mean, before either, I mean, unless it, dealt with something that was, possibly a complaint that came in about somebody else. I can't even really think of, I don't have anything specific to that, but, I mean, it probably doesn't really matter that it stays there. It's just odd to me that I have the power to decide if I'm gonna proceed with the request. Because that's really up to you folks as a board, if somebody comes in, but, and I wouldn't have any reason not to give you any information. Unless there was some legal prevention, and then, in which case I would say, hey, I can't because of this,
Right.
but.
So did you have any,
I was just gonna say, take that line out. It just sounds, I mean, it really, honestly, in my opinion, it sounds ridiculous. I mean, and any information that's given to him to give to the board is going to all 3 of us. So, really, is there any, Matt, you're quiet.
but then it goes on, should the town administrator deny the request, the requesting member may bring the issue to the full board at its next regular meeting.
Right.
So you would have to do something with, should, if the town administrator denies that request, you'd have to do something with that verbiage.
That whole rest of it, the decision made to deny the request cannot be held against the town administrator. I mean, that whole,
Okay. I'm on board for taking it out. Doesn't even make, like you said, doesn't make any sense.
Ernie, are you comfortable? I mean, and I know these have been changed, Are you comfortable with taking that out? Do you see any reason for it to be in there, or
No.
are you good with it?
If there's some odd reason that I wouldn't be able to give the information to everybody, then I would definitely give you a reason. And then, of course, if we found out that wasn't valid, and of course the rest of the board can definitely overrule that. I just don't really see it as an issue one way or the other. It's just.
So how about from the town administrator shall decide if he or she, all the way through to the end of that section, take that out? Are you guys good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but does that sentence apply to the Board of Selectmen, or does it apply to the general public requesting information? And I can't find anywhere where it says that it applies directly to the Board of Selectmen, or if it applies to the townspeople, and if it's something that he legally can't share with the townspeople, then it should state somewhere in there somehow.
Yeah, but all that's covered under 91A anyway. You know, when you say
Yeah, this is specific
This-
information.
Specific
It says right there that.
between the,
It says that additional information relative to a specific item may be needed for board use at the next regularly scheduled meeting. So this is all, as it relates to you folks.
Just to the
of
board.
Selectmen, right?
All right, take it out then, yeah.
yeah. You good with that, Ernie? You all right with it?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
It really matters what you think.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, I just want to make sure you feel like you're protected, that it's not gonna, since
Yeah,
it can't be held against you.
I'm fine.
Okay. And then under F, employees' duties, fourth line. Actually, it's the chairman's duty to call the roll. And to call the roll when required, so that can be stricken from. Andy, you good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then the only other question, and he's gone. Shoot, I forgot about this one. On the last page, under annual reviews and actions, the only thing, and Andy, you may know because you've been here since dinosaurs roamed the earth, right?
Not that long, but yeah.
Okay, on number 3, review and adopt the annual road program plan. Recall ever doing.
No, unfortunately, it hasn't happened.
Okay, so we don't, okay, all right. I just didn't know, I didn't wanna, all right.
I mean, it should, but it doesn't. I'll leave it at that.
Are you guys good with the changes and Ernie could make those if you would, please? And then we can adopt those for the next meeting.
Mm-hmm,
Is that good?
mm-hmm, yeah.
Any other business?
Yeah, so I thought we were gonna talk about the hiring of the employees at the DPW. Cause I did talk to Ernie about it, and he said that, did you talk to Aaron and Matt, or?
We should have brought that up at the beginning of the whole thing, but that's fine. No, please, go ahead.
Well, I just, at this time, I mean, so, I guess, so we're looking for a cleaner. Now, is this full-time?
Right.
So, a full-time cleaner. Do we really need a full-time cleaner right now? Does it have to be full-time? Can it be part-time?
I think you probably have to talk to Pat about that.
Okay, so this is where I'm at, and now we wanna hire another DPW worker. When our very last meeting with Aaron's, talking about, not hiring anybody right now. So how many employees down there did you say there was? There was 2 truck drivers
Yep, you got,
and 2 laborers?
well, at this point, I can tell you now that you're down 4. They're down 2 full-time employees in building and ground, and down 2 full-time in,
Well, building and grounds, we had Bill and we had a part-timer.
who was the part-time?
They're not there anymore, so right now it's just Bill. Usually we have a part-timer. Isn't there a part-timer?
Oh, you had, right, you had somebody that came in, yep, last year.
Last summer, right? Gordon, was it Gordon?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because, I mean, I'm just, so right now he has, I don't know, we should have talked about this earlier, but I didn't know if.
So why don't we table this discussion until we can have
Well-
Pat in here and discuss this?
Well, the issue
With
is,
us.
this is out in the papers. And really, I mean, I kind of have an issue with it, with hiring people. I mean, we could get away with a part-time cleaner right now. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I mean, we just laid somebody off. I didn't. That wasn't my choice, but we just laid somebody off. All right? And now we're hiring 2 more people downtown. It just doesn't sit well with me. So, for me, I think we should figure out what we have for help, what we need, and, you know,
But those positions, Pat's been without those people for a very long time. Other than the one slot that just left effective last week. He's been down 3 people for a long time. And when we talked about this last week and we talked and laid out that plan, it was 2 positions that weren't going to be filled. We knew the one was going to have to be filled for government buildings. That's going to have to be filled.
yeah, I mean, I'm on board with hiring. I don't even think we need a full-time cleaner for right now. I mean, hire a part-time cleaner. We don't have to give them benefits. We could save the town some money here. I mean, and you know, if they have 4 guys down there right now, right? 4 guys you said total. Then you got Butch. Then you got Pat. That's 6 guys. Then you got Wade. That's 7 guys. Wade, you know, if Wade isn't fixing a truck or whatever, he could be. If he has to drive a truck, that's fine. I mean, you know, we don't have that many people in our DOT shed at one time. You know, so I'm just looking at this. That's all.
Well, here's what I would suggest then. I mean, you do have it out there, but you haven't hired anybody yet. So, if you want to bring Pat in and have that discussion at the next meeting, then figure out, and I'll be happy to work with him to take a look at, that suggestion if you'd like. But
I mean, because
ultimately, this is up to you folks. So.
I mean, 3 years ago we didn't even have a cleaner in town. Do I think we need somebody? Yes, but do
They
I
had
think
that guy that cleaned, that went around part-time.
we never had somebody cleaning government buildings until probably, I don't know, it might have not even been three. I know Mike Beaulieu was on the board when we decided to hire somebody. So it wasn't that long ago where we never had anybody cleaning government buildings. So, here's a perfect opportunity to get somebody in here for 4 or 5 hours a day, come in, do their thing, and save the town some money on a full-time cleaner. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, now you don't have to pay benefits. And, maybe we could hold off on hiring another full-timer until this fall. Save some money. So, I'm just throwing it out there. I think personally we should wait to hire anybody until we find out.
I think in all fairness, we need to have Pat and have a conversation with Pat.
Yeah, no, I'm on board with getting them back in here and talking about it before we.
Because the conversation was 2 people that were, he was giving up again from DPW. And you had made the statement that he had given up before, that he had taken one for the team and had not filled one slot. And so that he we had given him the nod for the public works, the grounds and building, the cleaner. in that to go ahead and hire one, and then one more truck driver. So I think in fairness, I think that we need to have a conversation with him before we,
Well, yeah, no, I'm not saying to sit here and make a decision right now, but I think that it needs to be talked about because, you know, like I said, we just laid somebody off. So that's just my personal opinion, and if you guys want to move forward with talking to Pat, I'm fine with that.
yeah, I think that, can we do that on our next, and I know you gave me a copy of those minutes. What did I do with them? All right, we've got, is that it for other business? You got anything?
Nope.
All right,
No,
we got
I'm set.
approval of minutes from April 6th. Did you guys have a chance to review them?
Yep.
Mhm.
You all set, Matt?
Yep.
Well, I'll make a motion to recommend the minutes for April 6, 2020 as written.
Okay, so Andrew Rawson has made a motion,
Second.
seconded by Matt Morrow. All those in favor, state your name and your aye or nay.
Aye. Aye, Andrew Rawson.
Matt Morrow, yes. Aye.
Aaron Hutchings, yes.
Is that also, that's all?
Yep, just your John Henry on there. And expenditure report next.
I just had a few questions on the expenditure report I was going over.
Thank you, sir.
So we ready for the expenditure
And
report?
we sure are.
Okay. So we're at 50% on the printing and copies for the town administrator already. Ernie, do you know? It says we used already 50% of that line. Is that because of the lease or something?
Yeah, I think we just had a payment on the copier, but I'd have to look into it. I mean, anything that you've got with specific issues, just give me the line item and I'll look them up.
Okay. And then, yeah, under professional services, we're at 50% on that. Oh, that's the tax. That's the tax collector. I mean, some of these might be errors in do we pay our workman's compensation all one lump sum?
Yes.
Okay. The fire department part-time salary line, oh, he talked about that though, because that's up to 82% for the part-time salary line.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can talk to Nick about that. I just was curious. And then the fire department vehicle line, they've already used almost the whole 100%. In the fire department equipment purchase, they're at 91%. Yeah, and the same with the highway part-time salary line.
Okay, hang on, let me catch up to you here. So
Okay.
We had fire department equipment and vehicle maintenance. What was- I heard
Yeah, in the highway part-time salary line, they're 160%.
Okay.
And the welfare line is, because that's already at 71%.
Right, there were costs associated with the layoff that were against that line.
Okay, and the mileage on that line, that's already been all absorbed. I didn't know if you knew anything about that or not.
I'll have to take a look at that.
And the last one was recreation is already on their part-time line. They're already almost at 100%. Now, these might be some errors with Joanne that need to be,
Let's please point them out, we'll check them out.
Matt, you got anything? Okay, moving on, administrator comments. Can you come up to the microphone, please?
Yep.
She's so bossy.
I said please.
Okay, we had, I'd gotten a request to consider the posting of the roads, specifically Jug Hill Road, I believe, down to Milton Mills. And, I talked to Chief Kraus about that today, and he's actually going to do a little bit of, discuss it with some of the neighbors there, see what's going on, and if it seems warranted, he's going to post an officer down there to collect some data, just to see what's going on, just because it's hard for him to recommend posting a road, unless he's got some specific data on which to base that. So, he's going to do that, so we are looking into doing that, just so people know. And I'll update you on that at the next meeting. The tax deeded, the town-owned tax deeded properties at this point, I am putting together those bid documents I was telling you about. Interesting thing, the gift that keeps on giving is 565 White Mountain Highway. It appears that there may be one more notice that has to go out just to cover all the bases for it, but I'm double checking with previous legal counsel, because all that I've been able to find in the files at this point was a reference to this notice that was supposed to go out. That is in a letter that says this letter also serves as what that notice was supposed to be, but it's not signed and there's no certified return receipt associated with it. So I'm just digging down through that to make sure, but I'm still putting together the documents so that we can get moving on those things. You covered the employees, and Solar Garden, that agreement going to follow through by the end of this week. Hopefully we'll have information on that. You recall that the town meeting passed that article, and so there's a $20,000 payment that's supposed to come to the town as a result of that. And that's really it, unless you have any questions.
And we just talked about the Charles Street.
Yes.
So you'll.
That's one of them.
That's one of them.
Yep.
And you were talking to me about the person that was redoing the house beside it. Maybe you were going to be able to. He might be interested in the property.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I don't know anything specifically about that, but I haven't reached out yet.
Okay.
So.
Is that it?
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Selectmen comments?
I just really wanted just say that I hope everybody is just holding up well through this COVID-19 thing. Just I guess if anybody needs anything, in town, they can get a hold of one of us or the town administrator or keep your chins up and we'll get through this, Oh, and one last thing. Are we doing cleanup day this Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. So, cleanup day this Saturday. Were you going to mention it? Okay.
You're good?
No. If you were you gonna talk about it or?
You can go ahead, feel free.
Well, I just thought of this right off the whim here. This cleanup day on Saturday. So I know that is it on the website?
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
I'm not sure whether it is or not. I'll have to.
Is it on Pat's
I
website?
know it's on Facebook.
Yeah.
I know it's on the Public Works, and I believe she put it on the Public Works website too, webpage.
So double check and see if we can
Okay.
make it more visible.
But I know it's this Saturday, and I know they start around 8. I'm sorry, I'm not, because I did mention it, but it just hit me right now sitting here. So, but hopefully everybody can. I mean, you're gonna just be picking up, unfortunately, people's trash that they throw out their windows. That they, unfortunately can't make it home with them to get in their own waste paper basket. But there's social distance in doing it. So,
Yeah.
and it gets you outside and it gives you a good,
Good feeling.
a good feeling when the day is done that you've done something for the community. And I always pick up Tenerife Mountain. So, but yeah, that's this Saturday down at Public Works.
No,
So,
because of the social distancing, there's no barbecue or any of that at
Right.
Public Works. All it is if you call and set up your time, you can go in and pick up the bags to put the waste that you pick up in, and then leave the bags alongside the road. Let them know, call Public Works, let them know that you've, completed such and such road, and they will send the guys by to pick it up.
Yep.
And you can pretty much do it at any time. You don't have to wait until Saturday. I went and picked up my bags this morning,
oh,
so,
okay, good.
just call, Public Works and set up a time to come in and get them. And I think all of that is on their webpage, so.
Okay, good.
Matt, you got anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Alrighty. The Public Works Earth Day, I hope everybody gets out there. It is a great opportunity to get out and enjoy some of this nice weather we've been having, in spite of the snowstorm that we had the other night. And I hope everybody's staying safe. And that's it for me. Next meeting will be on May 4th. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Motion by Andrew Rawson, seconded by Matt Morrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm surprised somebody even said May the 4th be with you.